Wins the game. Yes, we're wrapping up college football conversation. You are listening to the Sports Spotlight with your host, Trizmon, and on the air, I've got Shep. Shep, a couple of games in the SEC took place yesterday, and they were as diametrically opposite in results as they were similar in the situation going in. A highly ranked team, Texas A&M, goes on the road to an SEC opponent with a bad record, and just toward the bottom of the standings table in Arkansas. And then on the flip side, a ranked team in the UT Austin Longhorns go into Kentucky. Again, bad record, hosting this ranked team. Similarities ended there because Texas A&M ends up winning a shootout. And yes, I know you said it wasn't a shootout.
Not.
Yeah,
it was not. Texas A&M controlled that game.
So
it was never
game.
Close. There was never any doubt.
Okay, fair. But a high-scoring game, 45-42 in regulation, while on the other side, Texas, once again, 16-13, needing an overtime field goal.
And some horrible play calling by Kentucky.
What is happening? What is happening with this team? And I mean, you and I have talked about how they continue to leave points on the field. Are the boosters seeing this?
Putrid offensively. I mean, that was
there were no
opportunities on the field. They were just awful.
Arch Manning with 132 yards passing in this one.
11 of 25, under 50%.
I mean, are you seeing some now? You said you haven't seen from him.
He's suffering some confidence problems right now, but a lot of it, and he'll never admit this because he's been so highly trained from a PR standpoint. He doesn't trust his offensive line, and he's getting happy feet, and he's got bad form as a result. And the reason why he doesn't trust his offensive line is because they're not worthy of being trusted. So there's that. His receivers don't get great separation from what I can tell. I haven't looked at all 22 films, so I may be wrong about that. And he certainly could play better than he has, but he is, even though he's more athletic than you can think of from a Manning type quarterback, he's not a scramble around type of guy and throw junk passes he's not that prototype of quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think you just don't know. I don't think he's as good as he was lauded to be out of high school. Okay, because I mean Isidore Newman is not playing in the highest level of Louisiana football, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't. He is still getting used to this point. This is his third year of high school. He should be used to the speed and athleticism, the tighter windows he's having to deal with. But I feel like I'm not going to give up on him completely yet, because Texas is a mess offensively, and Sark's got to figure out how to fix it, because this year's done. This year's a wash.
Man, they're
not going to accomplish any of the goals they wanted to accomplish.
They had 50 yards rushing and 132.
They cannot run the ball. They can't. Wisner's a decent running back, but he's not as explosive as he was maybe prior to his injury last year.
Mm-hmm.
But their offensive line just not opening holes. They're not protecting well, and the wide receivers
aren't getting separation.
But their defense is salty. But Kentucky's not a good team. They're salty defensively, but offensively, they're just good, and they very rarely are good.
Under 395 on this defense,
but they put up 395 on a good Texas defense, and they should have won the game. And I'm really glad they didn't, because I think Mark Stoops is his teams tend to play really dirty.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand the way Kentucky's played under him for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kentucky it can fire him this year because the buyout. But two, they don't want to swim in these coaching search waters, because you're going to have Penn State open. UCLA is going to be open. Florida is going to be open this afternoon. Florida State may be open this afternoon. All right. You're going to Arkansas is open.
Big names, yeah.
Ole Miss will probably be open too. when you kick him leaves, if he leaves
for
Florida or Florida State.
Yeah.
All right. Clemson may be open. They lost again yesterday. And I know people are like, Dabo's got the history. No, Dabo's been on a slide. Clemson needs to get rid of him unless he makes a commitment to radically change the way he's coaching. Like, there's some big openings that are going to be happening this year. Nebraska might be open, So I think Kentucky's going to keep Stoops for one more year.
Mm-hmm.
But Texas, I'll tell you this: if Sark doesn't get this fixed next year, that job's going to be open too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm thinking at this point, I think we have a chance at Mississippi State against UT Austin next week.
Yeah, right? we do. I mean, I'm worried Shapen may get killed because our offensive line's not great. Yep. But yeah, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, because I don't want to talk too much about our games because in the grand scheme of things, it's not important, except maybe being Napier's final win at Florida. But we absolutely should have won that game yesterday, and Shapen threw a stupid interception at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we were in field goal range.
He's a 6-year quarterback, man. You can't throw that. I mean, look, I don't mind the play call because you're trying to get closer for your kicker. 45 yards is still tough. But you can't throw that pass. Yeah. You just can't. You cannot throw an interception there. Oh my God. So also while we were at break, the Rams scored again.
Yeah. And it was a Stafford to Devontae Adams. So let's switch over to the pros now.
Yeah.
We'll talk more college later, but I'm gonna vent about fantasy football. So sometimes it just feels like there's an operator watching the Matrix and looking right at me and making sure he's doing everything he can to make me suffer. So I'm in a league. It's a really, really good team. I've got good talent. I've had one legitimate loss, two terrible losses where 18 things had to happen and they happened, and I lost by a couple of points. So I'm sitting at 3-3, and this week I ran into a Rams fan. He's one of those idiotic fantasy football players who, just stacks the team with his favorite players. So yeah, he's got Stafford, he's got Devontae Adams, he's got Kyren Williams, and he has the Rams defense. And while, I was going to put up about 115, 120 points with a decent chance of winning the game, after 5 touchdowns from Stafford, 3 of those to Devontae Adams, I have no hope. There was no reason for that garbage time touchdown being up 28-7 from Stafford to Adams, but it happened. It happened, and yes, they are now up 35-7. Oh, Lawrence is still trying to get me some points in the other league.
Yeah, he's still trying to get one more TD in. If I were Cohen, I would get Lawrence because you're not going to get back home from London.
Exactly. Wow, Travis Hunter, 13 targets, 8 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And maybe
I feel like he may be a better wide receiver than a DB.
Yeah, which is surprising because I did not think his frame would translate to that in the pros. But I think his athleticism, his freakish athleticism, is just going to win him a lot of one-on-one coverages until folks start to just double cover him, which might be coming by next year or maybe end of the year. I think he's going to win a lot of these deep balls. He reads the ball really well. He jumps for it.
He's getting, the phrase they use in scouting is ball skills. Mm-hmm. Incredible ball skills.
He does. There we go. Oh, did they? I'm a little behind.
Oh wait, did he not? No,
he
I thought he did.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, it was 2 Travis Hunter too. But yeah, man.
Maybe that's why they got Lawrence doing is they're doing the Travis Hunter at wide receiver.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that game is done. lots of other games coming up, but
What? So what's your favorite game or your biggest game to watch since the Bills aren't playing this weekend in the early window? I have mine, and I can be accused of homerism, but I want to hear yours.
the early window is actually, I mean, look, the Eagles and Vikings. I know that's where you're going.
Yeah.
I think that is a good one. Do you know who's going to be the quarterback? Is it Wentz or?
It's Wentz.
Okay. Is it because McCarthy is not back yet, or has he been replaced by Wentz at this point?
No, McCarthy's not all the way back yet.
Okay.
I think he'll be back next week, but they are still trying to get his ankle set. He's got the thing that KOC is saying is that he's not got good fundamentals trusting his ankle yet.
Yeah.
And so he wants to get that right, which I think basically means he wants to make sure the dude is completely healthy before he puts him back out there.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm going to hedge a little bit. I think the Eagles Vikings is going to be a good game, but I think it's going to end up being more of a defensive struggle than we think. So the total point total in that game is 44, and in that early slot, there's another game which has a point total of 44 and a half. I think that one, the Saints at the Bears, is probably going to end up being the offensively inclined game. I think both defenses are bad. So that's probably one that I'm going to watch.
Yeah, but so is the Saints offense. But yes.
I think the Bears' defensive problems trump the Saints' offensive problems. I can see Rashid Shaheed catching a deep one. I can see Kamara having a good day. I can see.
The thing I'm most interested in that game is if Caleb Williams continues to be smart, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to repress his instincts, which is not smart on the football field. He's smart off of it, okay, but he's got to repress his instincts to play hero ball. And Ben Johnson in the last few weeks has actually been able to do a really good job of beating that out of him,
which has translated into a couple of wins.
Which is like last week when they ran the ball down to get that game-winning field goal, they didn't have Williams slinging the ball over the yard. They actually were running a lot of that possession too. Okay, and he was hitting check downs and like underneath routes, and that's really encouraging if you're a Bears fan because that's just not what he likes to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so that, but I don't think those games are nearly as interesting as the Eagles game. I say the Eagles game because the Vikings aren't really a contender this year.
Yeah. It's not as meaningful a game as the Eagles game, for sure. Absolutely. And I think, look, if the Vikings win that game and sitting at 4-2, they're now trying to, they're keeping pace with Green Bay.
And Detroit, who, by the way, I didn't know Detroit has many secondary injuries as they did until they played. Even though they won the line of scrimmage against the Chiefs, you do still have to have cornerbacks, especially when you're playing Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. And so, speaking of Patrick Mahomes, he's going to have Rashee Rice back.
Yeah, you're going to have to knock the rust off, right? But I think they take care of the Raiders today.
I think so.
Pretty easily. I think the Raiders, they got some issues.
They do. So yeah, I think that's going to be a fairly easy victory, and Vegas knows 12.5 favorites. I think that's probably the
Vegas knows Vegas too. They're right there. They're not going to miss on this one.
Yep. So not a whole lot going on in this first slate outside of that. I really think that Vikings-Eagles, I would not be surprised if it ends up being a 1916.
Saquon's going to have a get-right game, it's going to be the day the Vikings are going to awful.
Well, so here's the thing with Saquon. I don't understand why people don't understand that basic corollary that past performance is not proof of future success. Like we know this historically. Whenever a running back has had the type of season that Barkley had, they come back with a dud. Like that's just the way it is. It takes a huge physical toll on the body of a running back to have approaching on 400 or exceeding 400 touches. It just does, right? It's a tough game.
There's a wear and tear aspect that EA Sports is desperately trying to put in the college football game, even though it's annoying as anything. In the pros, just absolutely happens to running backs.
Yeah. So I was not touching Saquon Barkley. I was not touching him with a 10-foot pole in the fantasy football draft because I knew. I don't know why everybody else doesn't know, but I knew, and we're seeing that his number of touches are right about just a shade below where they were last year. He's just not getting those breakaway runs anymore. Outside of the first two carries of the year, right? Since then, he's just not getting the breakaway runs. Now, part of it is the offensive line, some injury, some performance regression, whatever that might be. I mean, what was he averaging? Almost 3 yards before first contact last year?
Yeah,
right? The offensive line was...
Well, the Eagles' offensive line has not been as good this year for whatever reason as it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're really suffering the offensive coordinator switch. He just hasn't been good for them yet. Maybe he's still finding his feet as a coordinator. But, and I still don't think Jalen Hurts can read his own defense.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is that.
So if I was a Bills GM and the Eagles lose this game, I would be mortgaging my house to get A.J. Brown to the Bills.
Brown? Oh man! If we can get,
I know, it just makes me excited.
If he can come over there, I think that's gonna fix. Look,
that would make the Bills my Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah,
because they don't have a lot of receivers.
Yep. And the lazy take is, I've heard a few folks say, "Well, there we go. Josh Allen is regressing back to being the Josh Allen of 2 years ago." No, his offensive line has been beat up, and the receivers are not getting any separation.
They're not. They're bad. They're not good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
they're not good.
And I think as much as we say this is a team sport and it takes 11 guys, man, having a difference-making wide receiver with that quarterback, with that running back, would make most of the offensive problems go away. I mean, they've still got to get healthy. They've got to get guys back. But I think a lot of those problems go away when you have a wide receiver who can get separation consistently, especially when single covered.
Yeah,
that's going to require double coverage.
A.J. Brown can't. They got to find somebody. They got to be able to have something they do.
Yeah,
because otherwise they're going to waste yet another year of Josh Allen's prime.
Absolutely, and I mean the last couple of weeks have been worrisome. It's Palmer got hurt, Shakir's not getting separation, and there's
Coleman's not it.
Yeah, Coleman kills flashes.
It's been great for my Dalton Kincaid fantasy pickup. Because he's a security blanket now, which is great. But Josh Allen, a tight end, unless he's prime Travis Kelce, shouldn't be your number one target if you're an A-lister quarterback.
Yep.
You need that deep threat who's going to make other teams' eyes bleed looking at the film. And the Bills don't have that. I mean, sorry, I know I'm distracted by talking about the Bills, but the late games today.
Let's talk about the one that matters to everyone here in DFW. Cowboys and the Commanders.
Man, so Dak's got to score at least 40 points today.
Talk about an offensive bonanza, right?
Yeah, I mean, I say 40. It may only be 35. He has to score to win the game. But the Dallas defense is so bad. Man, it sure would be nice if they had a pass rush.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I wish they had just a monster edge rusher.
I mean, Dak's been playing at an MVP type level,
and yet they're 2-3-1.
Yeah, I mean, they're just.
I mean, scored 40 points on the Giants and couldn't win. Was that the Giants? No.
No, it was the Panthers. I mean, like, maybe 130, but like, in order for them to win, they have to score at least 30 points to have a chance to win a game. That's an insane standard for any offense. Okay, and it's just not sustainable. I mean, they're gonna be like a 7 or 6 win team at this point, and Dak's gonna play top 5 QB type football. It's just the Cowboys are my second favorite team, and it's just painful to watch. They're just not a well constructed football team, especially on the defensive side.
Yep. Yeah, Green Bay. They hung Green Bay. They hung 40 on Green Bay, and tied that game because the defense.
Yep. Green Bay's got the Cardinals today, which I mean they're in Arizona. We'll see what happens. I think Green Bay wins that game.
They should. They should. The Falcons 49ers also interesting. So the late slate of games is where stuff starts to get interesting. We're going to see if the Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo thing is a real thing, because they're about to face the best defense in Denver. NFL.
I think, despite the fact that Sean Payton cost my Vikings a Super Bowl with his horrible tactics that he was suspended for, the Vikings should have had a Super Bowl victory that year. Sean Payton's really an offensive coach, and he's a good head coach overall. I think the Broncos beat the Giants, and I think that Bo Nix plays a really good game against a Giants team that has a good defensive line, but maybe is suspect in the secondary.
Yeah, I think the game that really interests me in the early portion of that second slate, the Colts, the 5-1 Colts led by Danny Dimes, and the Chargers, the 4-2 Chargers. Oh my!
Chargers
goodness.
Are beat up, man. Mm-hmm. They are beat up on the offensive line in particular. I think Harbaugh is a great coach, but man, they gotta figure some things out on the offensive line if they're gonna do what they should do. And look, man, Daniel Jones proving everybody why he was a top 10 pick at New York.
I mean, also proving to everyone that you can't put it all on a quarterback, right? The offensive line matters, the play calling matters, the coaching matters.
Ken O'Connell, who I'm really high on as the Vikings head coach, has said that too often franchises fail their draft picks, their quarterback draft picks, by putting them in bad situations. Mm-hmm. And I think he's right about that. Because he had Daniel Jones last year. I think Daniel is a backup late in the year. And I think that there's a dearth of quarterback talent out there, but I think offensive coordinators and franchises often just don't help their quarterbacks develop. And then we label these guys bust. Look at Baker Mayfield. Was he a bad quarterback, or Cleveland is an awful franchise? Is Sam Darnold an awful quarterback, or the New York Jets an awful franchise? Is Daniel Jones a horrible quarterback, or the New York Giants a horrible one franchise for the past 10, 15 years? 10 years. So, these guys are all succeeding not at their first location, And it's because these franchises haven't figured out how to develop. And that's the question. I think that more people need to be asking before you label these guys bust.
Absolutely. Hey, question, and this is going to be the last question for the day. We were talking about the teams that are going to have eyeballs on them, right? What are the games that are the most interesting? What about the least interesting game that's kicking off right now? The 1-5 Dolphins at the 1-5 Browns. Do you think the audience number? Do you think it's going to be? Yeah. But do you think the audience watching this game is going to be in double digits, or is it going to be?
Have
like,
you heard of the Sickos Committee?
No.
Their Twitter following watches the most god awful college football game every week. I wonder if they're watching.
They should. If they're not, they
committee
should.
had decided to show up on our early on Sunday today to watch the Dolphins and the Browns.
Yeah, this is going to be bad. All right, man. Well, games are getting kicked off. I hope you got your fantasy football lineups in place. I had to worry about one less team because my opponent had Stafford and Devontae Adams. But at least on the other 4 teams, I'm going to be looking to see if I can do some things. That one, there is no hope at this point. I'm expected to lose by 30. When going in, I was expected to win by 10. So yeah, here we are. All right.
Have a good week, man.
Thanks, man.
Good luck.
Okay. All right. That was Patrick Shepard, and you've been listening